Destination Tara, planet and system of Alpha Centauri. Destination Tara. Destination Tara, planet and system of Alpha Centauri. Destination Tara.
What is up, hackers? Welcome to Chill Code. Joining me tonight, along with all of you, is our good friend Husky Hacks. Say hi, Husky.
Hello. Hey, Taggart, I got a joke for you. Why, when you look up at a flock of geese, there's always like a lopsided flock? Turns out there's more geese on one side. That's a dad joke. It was a terrible dad joke. Hello, chat. Hello. How's everybody doing?
That much like those geese, that went right over my head.
Oh my goodness.
All right, so friends, we are continuing our work on OffensiveNotion, and if you are just joining us for the first time looking at this, we are doing something that seems profoundly stupid, but turns out to be incredibly powerful.
It's so true.
It you wouldn't expect it to work as well as it does, but it really does. So what we're doing is we are using Notion, the note-taking app, and its API to develop a C2 framework, essentially, by sending data back and forth between a page and an agent on a system. Now, tonight, our plan is to finish up some basic prototyping in Python and then quickly move over to building this thing in Nim. Somebody get me a bang vim or bang nim. Oh. Did it again. Somebody get me a bang nim in chat. There it is.
There you go. We're not writing malware in Nim. Everybody chill out. This is a very legal, ethical application that just retrieves commands and brings them into our Notion notebook.
For
Who
educational
doesn't need
purposes
something like
only.
that? Well, that too, but I mean, this is there's no hacking going on here at all.
That's true.
Why would you even bring that up?
Well,
why would you? I'm talking to you.
Traditional, traditional like MIT style hacking, in that we're putting something together.
Yes.
Self-documenting command execution framework. I like it.
That is what I'm saying. You've got self-documentation. This is the utility of this as it's coming online. No joke. As the features of this thing come online, I'm seeing the utility of it like more and more, and it is so. Like, why are they doing this the first time you look at it? But like, the more I think about this project, the more I'm like, actually, this would be really, really useful.
I'll be honest with you also, I have not been able to stop thinking about this project since we started working on it. It's too fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Right now, we're basing it on pages in Notion, and also I've spent a lot of time now reading the Notion API documentation. And one of the things I realized is, it is pretty accessible. The pages are pages, but, one of the things that Notion has inside of it is the concept of a database. And so once this thing really starts maturing, we can do some amazing things storing data in a database. We talked last night about, registering agents with specific pages for their output so that if the agent dies, it can come back up and retrieve the proper page so it can just keep right on going. But you could also imagine, storing data for command runs in that database, storing credentials as they're captured, all sorts of cool stuff.
It's, yeah, and so I'm thinking like pages are listeners in this case, right?
Yeah.
So, but unlike a listener, the output of your commands are going to be recorded like in the body of the medium. It's just so...
Yeah,
I don't know. I haven't really quite wrapped my head around everything.
The way that I've been thinking about it is like the C2 test page is the listener. And and then each of the pages that we create underneath of it is if we're thinking in Cobalt Strike terms, the interact.
Check-in agents, the beacons,
Well, and specifically the interact window, because that's going to be where we go in and out. Dust on Keyboard, Cybergumia, good to see you both. Duct Tape says, I'm offended at the lack of Ferris. You know what? I feel that, Duct Tape. I really do. In my heart of hearts, I want to be writing this in Rust right now because I'm on a Rust kick, but I do see the value of writing in this in Nim, especially since I'm not doing this by myself, and I don't want to hurt Husky or Joe by making them do Rust.
I basically posed the because that was brought up, and I was like, if we do it in Nim, I will be useful. If we do it in Rust, I will be very, very annoying. So we'll just think about it that way.
Exactly.
But I think we're making the right call. Simplicity wins. Even I do love Rust, but I just have not wrapped my head around using it to effect at this point. So,
and all languages are beautiful, right? We accept and acknowledge the value of all languages in this stream.
I agree.
Except for Perl.
Except for Pearl.
All
Except
right.
for Pearl. Pearl, get out of here. Nobody wanted you here. You ate all of the chips. You ate a whole bag of chips at the party. What? Who does that? You didn't leave any for anybody else. Okay, anyway.
While
this joke is getting old.
double dipping.
While double dipping, you madman.
Just the worst. And Ruby and Bash. I can't. So, Czar, I can't get down with dunking on Ruby. I like it too much. Like, I'm sad that it didn't become more of a thing beyond Rails. I'm sorry that it died off that way, because Ruby had some really interesting ideas in it. And in fact, doing a lot of Ruby code made me a better programmer. Okay, so what we did last night, last night on Chill Code, was we were able to create a new page. Let's run it, right? We'll do it live.
Yep.
Let me get the API key back up. So, and my terminal here. So what's going to happen is we'll have Notion here on the left, and we'll have Python running. And I did merge in your changes to my branch, so I have the nym stub.
Wonderful.
So we're going to run offnote.py, which I just named that because I'm a music nerd. We're going to enter the API key, and what should happen is we're going to get a new page here called Odyssey. And indeed we do, which gives us the ability to write arbitrary commands to this target. And the way that we've decided to send commands is by creating to-do entries, like to-do check marks. And because this thing is constantly reading for new blocks that have commands, right? We had to come up with a way to indicate that we were done writing the command, because it was reading incomplete commands in.
You guys ready for this?
So what
you ready for this?
So what we've done, oh, I guess I added an icon accidentally.
Oh, cool. That's not intentional?
No, whenever you do Husky looking real focused, I think that's because it's like
I've been told I have a very intense I've been told I have a very intense demeanor sometimes. So
well, I think it just
wrong.
froze the.
What? Oh my.
No. It's back. It's back. So basically, the video will sleep, if I don't have it focused. So actually, let me see if I can.
Oh, I thought you meant the C2. I was like, oh no, what happened?
Oh, that
we're just talking about the video.
That did happen though. But that's because I broke something.
We hit an exception.
So basically, hold on a second. Here's what happened. I was screwing around with the code before the stream. So let me git checkout hard head. What?
Hello, GoPro, a hacker. How are you guys doing tonight?
Hey. Oh, what did I do? I did head wrong. No, I didn't. What? Get reset. Been a minute. There we go. Okay. One more time. Python 3 off. I gotta delete the. I don't have to. It'll just make another one called Odyssey. But okay, so enter the API key. Okay, we're off to the races now. So we're gonna write a command, and to do that, we just start typing. We're gonna make it to do, and we'll do calc.exe, of course, and we tell it we're done with the bullseye emoji. After 10 seconds, this should pull.
And check-in cycle. There it is.
Calc.exe.
Oh my god.
And of course, it checks the box to indicate that the command has, in fact, executed.
Never gets old.
It's so good. And so if we do, and notice there's like this little empty thing here. So what we're going to do is another to do. And we'll do like LSAL, and then again, we'll do the bullseye emoji.
Bullseye.
And this will return text in code formatting. By the way, there is a code block, even though it's not documented.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The forward slash code gives you a sunk in code block.
Even though it's not in the list of block types, if you like in that list that we were looking at last night, if you scroll down on the page, there's a code type, and the reason is you can give the code a syntax, so you can specify what language it's going to highlight in. Yeah. But this works fine because it's arbitrary.
Yep.
So this is
and meanwhile, let's point at something out. So if our operator on network right now, Taggart, decides that he wants to put some documentation right next to the outputs of his commands, Notion is still just a notebook, and so we can just type up our op notes as we go, which is so handy. Like it was a meme to begin with, but it's so handy. Yeah, that's the case.
Imagine doing this for like a pen test report where you have the writing right in line.
For sure.
So a hacker asks, do interactive programs remain a problem? No, and here's why. We flipped some of the code. At the very end, or the problem that we were having with interactive programs was that they didn't create standard output. Right, and we had, if we look at this line here, if output, now it says standard error, but we had originally keyed that off of there being standard out, and of course interactive programs aren't producing it. So instead of doing that, we based it on standard error and say we're going to send that. Otherwise, we're going to say the task is complete and we send the standard out. Right, so that's how we got around that problem. There may be an edge case where that gets weird, but at the moment it seems to be working out okay.
So I guess is a hacker's question more about like if you were to try to spawn like an actual cmd.exe shell and have it feed that's a whole thing. We would need to figure that out. Some like normal C2s don't even have that as a capability, so we would need, that's like a whole thing. But
I would say that would still be a problem. But again,
that's a problem,
like for Cobalt Strike, it's a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Like bona fide C2s don't have that capability yet.
What I was thinking though is it would be very funny to deliver like a Meterpreter payload with this, which is entirely possible, right? Yes. You could do like a web delivery with PowerShell through this.
Yeah,
or something like that. So now
I'm excited for the download feature where we grab something off the file system and then post it to the API as a file to upload that appears on the page as the embedded thing. But
I was looking at that part might be a little tricky. If we look at block and we go down to file block type, it seems to be the case that what's happening in the app is that it's using the browser's capability to upload files. Whereas with the API, you can link it to external URLs, but you cannot via the API upload files.
Okay.
You can only link to either internal links or external links.
All right. I'm thinking that. All right. Yeah. Sure. We'll put a pin in that for now.
I mean, cool. An S3 bucket solves the problem. You know what I mean?
It's not. I have maybe some other ways to solve that, but that's we don't have to worry about that right now.
Okay. Okay. So, what I want to do to make this a little bit saner, before we move over to Nim, is right now it is kind of going in sequence and looking for the last command that is available. But one of the things that we were talking about last night is, what if you wanted to kind of queue up a bunch of them, right? And for that, what we're going to do is we're going to refactor the way that the checking for commands code works. So instead of looking for the last one, what we're going to do is download all the blocks, filter for all of the to-do blocks, and then look for all of the unchecked to-do blocks. And then for each one of those, we're going to run the command and send the output. Now, if you're thinking about sequencing, that might also get weird, because what we're doing right now is we're appending to the page, this page top level, the text output of the last command that it saw. So to solve that problem, because obviously as new commands come in, it won't be, the output for that won't be like the last, I can't put it at the bottom of the page, it won't make any sense. So to solve that problem, rather than appending the output to the bottom of the page, I'm going to append the output of the command to the to-do block itself. So regardless of where it is on the page, it will be like, it'll be indented, but it'll still be
a child node of the main. Yep, got it.
Exactly right. Okay, so, and by the way, we also get some elegance wins for that. This 5-level deep, if statement will get cleaned up pretty easily.
The more your if statements look like a sideways pyramid, the more we gotta talk about it. We gotta sit down, we gotta hash it out. What's going on? Why are you in a pyramid of if statements? God forbid they're for loops. If you're in a pyramid of for loops, we really gotta talk. We gotta have an intervention at that point.
Yeah, someone needs to teach you about big O notation.
Exactly.
All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we have get blocks, so we're already getting the blocks. So we can do a couple things. We can say command blocks, and what we're gonna do is list, filter, lambda. This is me on my functional BS. Lambda b, and then we actually have a check for this above here. What's the polling frequency of the agent? GoPro asks.
10 seconds, or well, anything you want. But
right
10
now,
seconds
right now it's 10 seconds. Although we can key that off of whatever we want.
Yep. We're going to parameterize that in the agent to be either pulled from a config file or passed in as an argument at build.
Yep. So,
or maybe you can set it as a to-do block and have it interpret the command and change the sleep interval.
I actually like using a different kind of block for that, but yes. So like agent commands could be their own block type. You know what I mean?
Ooh, yeah.
And shell commands could be the to-dos. All sorts of cool stuff like that. But okay, so B, what we're trying to say is if the B type equals to do, command, ignore that typo, command blocks is what we wanted. And we can tag commands with emojis. That's right.
I didn't want to interrupt you.
No,
because you were in the zone there, but oh my god. We can do the exact same thing we do for the command execution, but you know, this emoji, the spy emoji, is going to be an API call. The book emoji is going to be a file download or something like that. Oh my god!
It would be cool to, somebody else is into this. It would be cool to be able to set that in a call out or quote field type on the page or a different page.
This is how APT groups start. Oh, I wasn't aware.
Really?
I wasn't aware they start on streaming publicly on Twitch for anybody who wants to view. That should make them easier to catch.
I wouldn't that be great?
Sometimes they post things on YouTube.
That is true.
Anyway.
That's an inject in backdoors and breaches.
But I digress.
Okay, so we have command blocks, and then we have to do like new commands equals list filter lambda b. And what we're gonna do here is the block checked has to be false.
Right.
And if I wanted to be a little bit more elegant about that, I could say not be checked. But I'm not trying to be too clever here. I'm just trying to get this thing to work. And also, I like the symmetry here is appealing to me. I can't help it. Even if I'm writing code, I'm still a writer, an English major. It's like parallelism, not the parallelism.
Tiger, burning bright.
Hey, bring out the William Blake.
What is it? What something fearful I could pierce.
What immortal hand or I could frame
what immortal hand or I
symmetry.
could free thy fearful symmetry.
Yeah.
I remember my middle school grammar teacher got all very self-righteous about that one.
I think that's I'm gonna pull on my actual literature degree. Like, I think that's BS. I don't think Blake said it symmetry. I think he was like,
no.
I think Blake was like, it rhymes on paper good enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have our new commands, and so we have blocks equals get blocks. What we'll do here is we'll actually put this all inside of a try.
Mm-hmm.
And that obviates the need for the just kidding. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. So we're gonna get the blocks, and we're gonna move these inside of the blocks check. And that way, none of that has to happen if there are no blocks. All right, so we do command blocks, right? And then we'll just say if new commands. Let me do a quick IPython thing. Does an empty list evaluate to true? It doesn't evaluate to try. We know that much.
Not to try or
okay.
tree.
Awesome.
False.
An empty list is falsy. That is super handy. So what we'll say is if new commands, right here.
If there's anything in that list, it evaluates to true.
That's right.
Is that the case? Okay.
If I say like 1,
ABC 1, 2, 3, yeah.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
So an empty list is still falsy. That's or a full list is still falsy.
Is it like asserting that empty list against?
Well,
like,
it
what
doesn't.
Would it be asserting?
It doesn't really matter. We'll
Whatever.
just sue if len new commands is greater.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Lists are false. Your lists are false.
Dict search for it. That's dicts, by the way. Don't clip that. Clip that. Oh god. Dictionaries.
Yeah, that's why I do that.
Are true.
Now, I mean, it's JavaScript, but I'm just curious. Okay, arrays also. See? Arrays with stuff in them in JavaScript do evaluate to true. Thank you very much, JavaScript.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, fine.
I mean, there are many articles have been written about, like, can you guess which of these evaluates to true and false in JavaScript? That's an easy article to write for a developer on dev.to or whatever. Which, by the way, total aside, but do you ever see an article from dev and be like, this person's never heard about security in their lives?
I find things on Stack Overflow a lot.
Okay, yeah.
Like code samples on Stack Overflow that people are just blissfully unaware of the glaring vulnerabilities in their code, which is usually pretty funny. But yeah, that's it's just we're not going away anytime soon. I'll put it that way.
Okay, so if len new commands equals 0, one of the things that we get to do here is we don't have to do this command block anymore. Instead, we can do command blocks equals list map. God, yes.
Oh my God, he's breaking up
yes. The map. And we've already written the extract command function, so we're just mapping extract commands against new commands.
Clean.
Yeah.
It's clean.
I knew functional programming was going to save us today. I had faith. Okay. And so we have command blocks. And then we don't actually do an if command then. We'll just say for C in command blocks. Or I guess commands, right? Because we're not...
Wait. Or C in command...
Well, so here's my thing. The extract command is going to pull the string of the command out.
Okay.
So it's actually the commands. But... Oh, okay, but we have the new commands anyway. Okay, so we're gonna basically... I'm sorry, I'm not completing sentences because my brain is like 5 steps ahead of where my mouth is.
I do the same thing. Don't worry about it. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Here's what I'm trying to get at. We are going to need not just the command, but also the block that it came from, right? So we need the block's ID in order to append
nest the output. Yep.
So to solve that problem, we actually already have that with new commands, right? That's what we're doing. But instead of, yeah, so basically what we're going to do is for I in range len commands. And that way, for I, good. Duct Tape says, I asked a professor at UCI if they are planning to update their course to cover security. I was told they will learn it on the job.
Chat, boys.
That's an aside. He has only ever worked in academia. Well, I mean, a professor anywhere theoretically may have only worked in academia. It's interesting, though. I am seeing a lot of job offerings for like part-time lecturers for universities that don't require advanced degrees because they know this is a problem. Also, they can't hire anyone to work in academia.
Yep.
Okay, so for I and range lane commands, then we'll say args. So we'll say command equals commands I. And then command block equals new commands I. Yep, okay.
Let me reason through this. Take the range of all of the commands that are on the board. Iterate through those. Your command block is the new commands of I. So for the command is indexed.
These
and command block is, where was command block?
Right here.
Command blocks is list filter. Okay, that was your functional programming, John.
New commands and
find the
commands
to-dos
will always be the same size.
Okay. Find the to-dos. Command block equals new commands I. I think I get it.
Okay. So basically, I need. Someone told me that understanding a card is harder than writing it. Yeah, because you're not in my head. That's not true. Husky lives rent-free in my head.
That's very kind of you to say.
But basically, I need both the command string, like ls, who am I, whatever, and I also need the block object that it came from because I need to use that ID to append the result to it.
Right.
They're two different things. And in fact, if I wanted to, I can make this a little saner. Let's do that. In fact, let's make this a little saner because I'm jumping ahead with these commands. I don't actually have to do that. All right. So what I'll do instead of this is for I and range new commands. That way we're not going against two lists. We're just going against one. Okay. The command itself is the extracted command from the block, right? Because the extract command function returns the text from the block itself. So I'm going to call that function for each command, and the command block is still here, new commands I. All right, so it's one list that we have to worry about the length of, not two. And then we'll say args equals command dot split on the space. We're looking for the bullseye. If the bullseye is in the command, then output equals subprocess.run. So that's all correct. Now we get to change. Feels like, are you working through something, or is something not making sense?
I'm following.
Okay,
I got you.
So after we do this, we have these two commands, complete command and send result. But the truth is we can actually do both of those in one function. Because complete command, all it did was check command block. What did it do? It complete command just checked the box, right? and send results, sent it back to the page ID. But we don't actually have to do that as two different steps anymore, because we're not sending the result to the page, we're sending it to the block we already have.
Okay.
Right? So, in fact, we'll say this is send command result. We'll change the function name to be a little bit clearer. We'll send command result. And so we're going to give it headers.
Yeah.
We don't need page ID, though. We do, however, need the command block. And here's why. And output.standard out, of course. And we'll also do send command result. Yeah, that's fine. So I was thinking like we could get fancy and have like a different result if it's an error, but it's fine. We're gonna check oh no, that actually is gonna happen. It's gonna send the result back, but we're not gonna check it.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yep. Because
So
we don't complete the command, we just get standard error.
So complete command.
But will it then be picked up again on the next go around?
Ooh, that's an interesting point.
Yes. It should be checked. It should be checked. Even if we get standard error, it should be checked, because you do not want to let a command run in an environment if you don't have positive control over it, especially if that threw an error. You don't want to have that run again.
Okay. Good call. Good call.
Yeah. We definitely want to have it complete. In fact, that means you could probably pull that complete command out of the... No, because you want it for the...
Yeah. The trick could be that, we have other options. Like all we'd have to do is add a parameter to complete command to say whether it was success or failure. And then we could like format the text differently if we wanted to or something. But for now, this will work okay. And all right, so complete command. Hey, honeypots. And
honeypots.
Hello. Unknown exploit. Thank you for following for 8 days. I don't know why I got that notification, but it's cool. Okay, so complete command, headers block, block ID. Hold on a second. No. Yeah, complete command. What am I missing here? Complete command URL if r equals. Oh, right, because complete command. There it is. This is wrong. Command block to do checked. No, that's still right. But actually, I want to abstract this out of the run and put that in the complete command function, because that's really what's doing it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And we'll call this command block, because that's what's happening. Using my favorite multiple cursor thing in VS Code. Okay, command block to do, checked equals true. So here we're... Okay, so that looks good. And then send command result, it's no longer... Oh, you know what? All we need to send is not the page ID, we just need to send the command block ID. Right? To send result. So we'll just send it the ID.
Now, ID is pulled from... Where are you deriving ID from?
So
so that I understand it.
Command block is a dictionary. That was loaded from the JSON that we pulled when we asked for the blocks on the page.
And you are indexing into that dictionary on the ID key to pull the value, which is the command block ID.
You got it.
Got it. Understood.
Okay. So for this send command result, we're going to change this to oh god. Try to get too fancy. Command block ID. Command block ID.
And that's going to be okay with the API call there?
Yeah, because blocks are blocks. Even a page technically is a block, which is how we were able to get away with this anyway. So by changing it to the command block, all we're doing is rather than appending it to the page root, if you want to think about it that way, we're just appending it to the command block. Hey, Turco.
Okay, so blocks into command block would be...
So what that's going to look like...
Okay, for the API.
What that's going to look like is this. Right? So now you can kind of see it's like the child of this block. So if I move this around, it's moving both of these.
Yes. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's it. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we saved ourselves a single conditional, I guess. But this is a lot more robust because now we can now do something kind of neat, which is we can queue up commands.
Yep.
And then get them ready. You might be able to do a quoted block too, and it would look less like individual lines broken up. Yeah, that's true.
Hold on, I got Notion, my actual Notion notebook.
We can also we can also do type code if we wanted to. Just to see what happens. Which might work as well.
Okay.
Let's look at the block types, because there's like quote, I think. Yeah. Quote.
Block.
And then...
It's very, very straightforward.
I think I can basically I can just change it to quote, and the annotations for code should still be fine. Yeah, good idea, GoPro. Let's give that a shot.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we'll change paragraph to...
Oh, yes, because the, where is it? Type quote, but then the code syntax is code true. It's a sub-child of that node. So yeah, we're fine.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Unless we're not, but we'll find that out in a second.
I think, hold on, you can, here, quote, and then I'll throw, and it's Control E. Yeah, you can code syntax in a quote block. That's no problem.
Yeah, I guess, but there's like, here's what I'm saying. Because I found out, right, there is a code block type. And the way that the code block works, let me know if this is too small, but basically in type code, you give it a language of JavaScript. But in like what we were doing before is we were using annotations, which is for just like rich text, to make it code formatted, as opposed to specifying the language. So I'm curious if that's gonna work. Language shell. Yeah, I mean, if we need to do a code block, in this case, it's a block quote, which I like the idea of doing. So we'll see if this works out.
Yeah, let's check it out.
All right. Definitely need to recopy the API key. Let's delete this page. All right, fire this up again. Okay. Now, we're gonna set a to-do list.
GoPro, every time I think about this project, it sparks an untold amount of joy. Like, I'm just like, it's so funny and memeable and also completely utilitarian. Oh no, oh my.
That's okay. That's just me being
Filter expected 2 got 1.
Yeah, so this was... I forgot to write in the list I was filtering on for the command blocks, right? Yep. I did that twice. So filter lambda on blocks and here on Command blocks. Okay.
When we get to the like embedded agent design portion, once we get like a pretty solid foundation of it, it's gonna, oh my god, I'm very excited. We're gonna do, like, execute assemblies from pasting them in a block on a Notion notebook. It's just blowing my mind.
Yeah. Oh,
with
yeah.
How much flexibility is gonna be in this?
GoPro, I was saying before you got here that, like, work was tough today because I could not stop thinking about this project. All I wanted to do was mess with this. Okay. So to do LSAL. Dang it. What did I forget to do?
Key error checked.
Ooh, key error
checked.
That is because I just realized you could use this as a front end for a Zork style mud. Yes, you could. So the blocks must be structured a little bit differently than what I wrote. So let's take a look in here. B type. So, because to do, oh, of course it is. To do. Sorry, everybody. I'm just being stupid. Yeah, because obviously that's right. It's inside the to-do key and value pairs. That's why that's like that. Okay.
At least we got these handy exceptions to tell us what's going on.
Yeah.
We got a page.
Okay.
And we're queuing up our commands. We're planning out what we're going to be doing in the environment. We're checking them with our colleagues and saying, do these commands make sense? Are they going to trip? Are they going to skyline the operation? We have a whole round of review. And then we decide.
I'm just doing this so it's fast.
Yes, there you go. Just 1, 2, 3. Yep.
Yep.
Oh, they're rolling out multi-line select, by the way, so
Boom.
you won't even need to do this.
Boom.
We got a 3, a 2, a 1. Execute. Execute.
Calc open.
Execute. There we go. Nice. Okay.
Okay.
How did calc ran 3 times?
Yes, it
2
did.
times?
It ran
3 times?
3 times.
What? All right. Well, let's think about that for a second. Is every command running every time?
It must have been, I mean, within the 10 seconds, it must have pulled.
Oh my god.
That is a little bit of a race condition there, because
if there are n blocks, is each command being run n times?
No. Because we're filtering for the unchecked blocks.
Mm-hmm.
No, we're not. Wait, yeah, we are. Yeah, that was this.
Is it still in its sleep cycle? Because it has not checked back in.
I'm curious.
You notice that?
It's still in its sleep cycle.
It has not checked back in.
Yeah, because
is calc still open?
Well, by the way, the sleep cycle is if blocks, and there are blocks.
Oh.
So we got to fix that.
Yeah. If blocks. So it can't be if blocks. It just needs to be check in and then assess if there are blocks. Oh, nothing. All right, go back to sleep. Sleep.
Yeah. GoPro says, I'm curious if you can input text like backtick text and it convert it to code blocks. The answer is yes, because I use markdown syntax on Notion all the time.
Yep, you totally can. It just did.
Mm-hmm. Does it accept GitHub type markdown?
How would that be? What do you mean?
I think
GitHub
it's like
type?
bang like this, like space like this.
I have never seen that in my life.
Okay. Yeah, GitHub flavored Markdown has a special notation for checkboxes.
Oh, wait. Yes, I have seen that. I'm sorry. I used
Duct tape,
that.
it pulls and sees the unchecked, runs the commands, and set the API to check it, pulls again, and the check hasn't hit yet. No. It did not run calc.exe 3 times because we had 3 commands in the to-do list. It ran calc 3 times because somehow it saw calc as something to do 3 times. Which is interesting because how is that possible if I... Yeah, let's run it again just to do some science here to see what the results are again. Right? Oh, that's so cool. Do you see if I unchecked?
Yes, unchecked gets you back to okay. I see you. And the output is right under, it's still nested under
Right, because the ID is the same.
That's awesome.
If
that
I
is
uncheck
really cool.
who am I?
Yeah, if we do a who am I, do we get another nested who am I there?
I should. Do I have to? Yes, I do. All right, that's
Awesome.
neat. All right, now I'm gonna enter a new command. I don't know what to say though.
Give me a it's a no, you're on a Linux machine, right? Yep, sure.
Oh wait, this ain't gonna work.
Why? Oh, it's nested.
Yeah,
No, because wouldn't it just drop it to the next?
because every
No,
block
you
has
need it the-
every block has
you need the top
children.
level.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
now it'll work. I hope.
It could be just like paint, like the paint could be going on right now.
Oh, that's true.
But a pin count of 4 would be pretty quick.
It should be done.
Yeah. I am curious about something. How is it interpreting that hyperlink? If you unlink that, edit and remove the hyperlink to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, edit and remove the hyperlink. And then that should do.
But why
That should
didn't I get any standard error?
I'm not sure.
That worked.
Boom.
Damn, that worked though.
There we go. Yep.
Interesting.
Science, baby. Oh my god. This is fun.
That's really neat.
Okay, so note, be careful with links in command in a command block if you want to run it.
Yep. All right, there's that. And now I'm gonna close that. I'm gonna redo these first 3 commands real fast. 1, 2, 3. Let's see what happens. LSAL, who am I? Calc.
2, 3.
And calc
Multiple
only
counts
opened the
or just one?
Just the one. So what happened the first time?
I don't know. Weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Interesting.
I'm pretty happy with this. What about you?
This is like the most fun thing I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, I'm very happy with it, actually.
Okay, let's
So all right. So now, thinking ahead, templated Notion page that has all of your check-in commands.
and essentially the Notion version of an aggressor script.
An aggressor script that tells you where you are, who you are, and where you need to go.
Mm-hmm.
And unlike an aggressor script, it's not written in some archaic technology.
Yeah,
It's written in
is.
what effectively amounts to Markdown.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, this is cool.
Okay.
Losing it, man. It's so cool.
Okay, so next step is to nimify this thing.
Yes. Okay.
Let me kill this and commit what we have.
Yep.
Git
Good man.
commit.
So for my homework for this morning when I woke up before I started working, I did just a tad bit of programming to build a little bit of starter code for this leg of the project. It ain't much, all right? Don't be expecting too much.
It looked
but
good.
it looked okay. I think it could be better, but it got a little bit of the bones up for some of the stuff that we're going to need to do this.
Yep. By the way, I
So-
don't know if you noticed, I did put for educational purposes
Yes,
only
I
on
did.
README.
I did see that. Thank you. That will.
I'll PR that into main tonight.
That will exonerate all of us during the great trial. So I pushed that to my branch of the code. So if you,
There it is.
there it is. Love it. Okay.
Now, did you run Nimble and Knit?
Nimble init, I did not know. I didn't package manage any of this at this point, so
Well,
that would be a good idea. We should
Riley's
do
going to
that.
yell
Yep.
at us if we don't.
Riley will yell at us.
I'm
yeah.
here to yell at you.
He's in here, yeah. Damn it. he's been lurking.
We said Nim 3 times and you appeared.
Yep.
That's how it works.
Okay. Well, that's
So
good.
yeah, I should be better about that, but I wrote this, I slapped this together with duct tape and not dreams, but duct tape and glue. Yeah. So let's nimble init this and make this thing a bona fide package.
Okay, it's a binary that we're building. Yeah, 10.1.0 is fine for Semver.
Sounds great.
An
New awesome
educational
nimble
remote command framework using Notion.
Are you sure this isn't hacking? This sounds like hacking.
Again, old school hacking, right? The way that you know, Dennis Ritchie would describe hacking, I think, is what we're doing here. But we're certainly not doing any crimes. I want to be clear about that.
Its features and interoperability.
Yeah, MIT license, lowest supported NIM version. I don't think we're using anything crazy new. Ooh, actually, Riley, did anything fun happen with async after 148?
Sorry, I'm playing video game and it's stressful. Not that I know of. I don't usually find myself needing async await stuff, so yeah.
Well, this may very well need it because of the nature of it.
Yeah,
Um,
I, as far as I know, nothing crazy has been going on. It's the same as it's always been. That
Same
is
as
to
it ever
say,
was.
poorly documented. Yay!
Okay, so we've got an OffensiveNotion.nimble, requires NIM at 148.
Great.
Change this up. Husky, how do you want to identify here?
Husky X is good. That's yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
And I am gonna do something annoying, which is I'm gonna open Nimbuster as a reference for how we do stuff like this. Yeah, okay, there we go. Nimbuster.nim.
Well, but you could just add you can like nimble add the, it's a little bit like a poetry file, right? Like it'll pull in the dependencies at their correct versions as you add them, I thought.
That is well, what's
Yeah.
cool about Nimble is that it doesn't host the packages in the local dir, right? It hosts them in the Nimble package directory and then links them when necessary. But
Yeah, so you can even have multiple versions of the same package installed, and if you're working on two different projects that rely on two different versions, you can specify minimum and maximum versions.
Yeah.
And the compiler will just figure it out.
Lovely.
What I did know though is
go ahead.
Sorry, what I did know is that when we go to compile, we definitely needed the SSL
Yes.
flag
Yeah.
for what we're doing.
So what
Yep,
I'm
is
also
what it
going to
was.
say is that for yes, we're certainly going to be really cool like red teamer implications of doing this. We're working with a fully fledged solutioned piece of software that has a full end-to-end encryption suite. So we don't even need to roll our own crypto on an agent. We don't need to XOR encode anything like that. That part of the to and from is taken care of, which is super cool. You don't want to be running unencrypted C2 if you are a responsible red teamer. So that's taken care of. The other thing I was going to say is that in that nim config file, we are going to stuff that with compiler flags that are going to help out our educational red teaming here. We'll get there, but I have a preset that I usually run that help out with dead code elim, stack trace, line trace. For right now, we're debugging. We want to keep that stuff all on, but eventually we'll put in a list of those compiler flags that are going to make it lean, mean, and fast.
Awesome.
So, yep.
Okay. So, import HTTP client.
By the way,
yeah,
this is not super important, but I just want to let you know that this does exist. If you'd rather not have to deal with libSSL and all that, there's a library called Puppy by Treeform, who makes the best libraries, by the way. No libSSL, no sassert.pem file. It just uses system APIs for
import
everything.
Puppy. Yeah, awesome.
Okay.
Excellent. This is great.
Is that infinite not logins? No, this is Riley, who is our resident NIM expert.
The NIM guru.
I feel like you're giving me too much credit.
No, we're not.
Having read your pull request to NIM Buster, I am sure that I am not.
So the only reason I even remotely know what I'm talking about is just because I've been using NIM for like 3 years.
And
but I don't
why is that
really,
true?
I don't really know what I'm doing. Oh, so that's around when I started programming for the first time. It was 3 years ago. I had always had like a slight curiosity about it. Plus, my uncle owns a company called Foxtrot. I'm probably doxing myself, and they do like a whole bunch of software stuff. Like they're developing their own database service from scratch, if I'm not mistaken. But I digress. So basically, he's like the programming uncle, right?
Oh, this is really interesting. Sorry, Riley. Go ahead.
You're totally fine. So basically, to make a long story short, I never really bothered until the school I went to offered a class for it, and I was like, what the heck? I might as well take it. Obviously, they just teach Python, but within like the first half of the school year, I was like, yeah, I can do better than this. But I didn't like Rust. I didn't want to learn any C family languages. So at the time, I was often using a website. You know, I'm on my school Chromebook, right? So we're using a website called REPL.it.
Oh, I love Replit.
Yeah. And classic. It's great. And I was just randomly scrolling through the list of languages, and I was looking at the ones I didn't recognize, like, oh, Roy, whatever other thing. And I found NIM, and I just Googled like NIM lang or whatever, and I was like, wait a minute. It's like Python, but good. And as they say, the rest is history.
Indeed.
I had a coding uncle. No one in my family is inclined in
the old coding uncle.
Yeah, I wish I had a coding uncle.
I had a coding grandma.
That's awesome.
She had an Apple II Plus, and I so vividly remember that what she had done, because she did a lot of accounting stuff, and at the time, dot matrix printers. God, I'm old. Dot matrix printers were not good enough for her. So what she did was she took a data ribbon from the output from the Apple II Plus and wired it into some electronic typewriter that she had. And so what ended up happening was that the typewriter, like a player piano, would produce output, like a teletype terminal, basically, from the computer. It was so cool.
Nice.
Coolest grandma.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, I agree. So Puppy is interesting because it says that it does not use NIM's HTTP stack. Instead, it uses WinHTTP,
in the HTTP,
AppKit on macOS, and libcurl on Linux. Now, Husky, is this something
a tradecraft consideration?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so in PE Studio, the DLL, I should say, because I think there was really only one, that you will call to perform those API calls are usually on the block lists of PE Studio. So, but that having been said, there are maybe millions of legitimate programs that make use of those API calls. So, but I think we'd be fine, but it is definitely a consideration. I don't think it breaks the bank.
So
I think it's...
It says currently does not support async, which for me
Oh,
is a bit of a
I hadn't read that.
deal breaker.
sad.
And let me explain why that's true. It's not, the async for me is not just about the HTTP in out. What we're talking about with async here, because when we did Nimbuster, we did parallelism, but we don't actually want parallelism here. We want concurrency. And for those of you who haven't been reading too many computer science books like me and trying to remember how to do this in Rust, here's the difference. Parallelism takes advantage of the fact that modern computers have more than one CPU. Okay? And so what a parallel compute job will do is take one set of instructions and task them to one CPU, and take another set and task them to another CPU, and so on and so forth. Concurrency does not do that. Concurrency is not about multiple CPUs. It is about the aggressive nature of being able to schedule work via the operating system or whatever else the platform the instructions is running on. And what ends up happening is when a job is in non-concurrent programs, when a job is like doesn't have any more work to do, but there's no other way to like ship it out of the queue, you get dead time. So what concurrent programs do with async and await is say like, I'm going to send the signal to the CPU or to the operating system really, that like you can chuck this and do other work. And the other work that it ends up doing is the rest of your compute. And so you're swapping in and out for the different jobs that you can do. That makes your one program, even on a single thread, much faster.
TLDR, parallelism is doing multiple things at once. Concurrency is doing other stuff while waiting for another thing to finish.
Got it.
Yeah, and for the networking people, it's hub versus switch.
Yep.
Right? Parallelism is switch, and concurrency is hub. But it turns out that in like a VM situation or a single core situation, you want concurrency because it'll still... And what got me thinking about this is that Nimbuster was like losing really badly to FerroxBuster on my VM, and I was like, why? And the reason is that FerroxBuster does not use multiple true threads. What it does is it uses concurrency. Even though the command line option says -T for threads, I think this is true for Hydra too. Even though it says -T for threads, it's not really threads. It's different concurrency jobs that it's setting up.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is worth noting, for those of you that don't know, I don't know a lick of anything related to cybersecurity. I just like making software. So when I'm like writing how I would do Nimbuster and like writing all those comments, it's kind of like my unqualified, naive way of doing it. Like I'm using threads just because I think, oh, I want to do multiple things at once. Yeah, threads. That sounds right, right?
I mean, but that is like a very valuable perspective to have in our field,
definitely.
Riley. And so like from the other side of the coin, Riley, like I bootstrapped my way into knowing a little bit about how to put a software program together, but am like a dyed-in-the-wool like operator, red teamer, like, pen tester, and before that analyst, right? So you bring a whole other half of the equation that I like just don't really. Taggart is like one of the most gifted people I know because he does both and really, really well on both of those accounts.
Well, and in my heart, I think of myself as, probably mostly a systems administrator. And like all the other stuff I just had to learn how to do in order to keep my servers running.
There you go.
They say necessity is the mother of invention.
Boy, that is the literal truth. Including Periscope, for those of you who remember that car accident of a program. Husky, I don't know if you remember that one. That was
I
that was
don't-
my old PHP application that SAR found a pre-auth SQL injection in like 2 seconds.
I have not heard this. I have not heard this story yet. But is that on your Is Periscope on your GitHub?
Yeah, hang on. Enjoy. Or no, not code.
Okay.
Sorry, repo is the command. There you go. It's archived.
Feisty boy.
It should never be deployed.
Never see the light of day. Yeah.
But yeah, there's all sorts of great stuff in there. It would actually make a great CTF box. It's got SQL injection. It's got cross-site scripting. What it originally was for was a curriculum mapping for a school I was working for, because they didn't want to pay the like $10,000 for the commercial software to map their curriculum, like the units and subjects across grade levels. So
Yeah.
I built this instead. All right.
Okay, so to start here, I wanted to point out that the get configuration options procedure is currently returning a tuple of everything that we would want to set up as a config option. In some fervent Googling, I could not find anything, I mean, actually, Riley, I'm glad you're here because you might know the answer to this. I could not find anything that parses TOML or YAML like quickly and easily with an IM package, but we could probably find one right now.
Is there not a YAML package right here?
There should be a TOML parser. I don't know how good it is because
Okay.
I've never needed to parse TOML. I usually just use the built-in parse CFG because most CFG files I use are more or less the TOML format,
Okay.
and it just works.
Excellent.
I'm also looking at this
No
like
promises.
Okay.
I want to know if there's a get pass equivalent.
I
That
don't
would
know what
be-
that is.
Well, so the input right now, Taggart, is kind of that right now, but it's not great.
Yeah, that's
it
true.
would be better to the input. It will not. Well, hold on, because it's not going to obfuscate your API key.
That's what I was trying
Like
to
you-
say.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, I should have thought about that. You could strike that from the record. Do we have a?
Well, the way to do it is with environment variables, right? So I can like off-screen the terminal, set it as an environment variable, and do it that way. That's not
Okay.
That's not tricky.
Yeah.
And that also mirrors what we did here. If we look at the Python side of the code, let me close this. If we look at the
Nim.
Python side on the code, by the way, Python on the left, Nim on the right. In
I'm gonna
main,
give you a little code hint for free. You can change URL base to a const.
oh yeah, we can. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
My work here is done.
But yeah, so what we're doing with the API keys, we're actually trying to load it from the environment variables, and then if it's not there, we're asking for it with the get pass. So we can just try to load it there.
Oh, I see. Get pass is like that terminal input thing where it hides.
Yeah.
Yes. Or
Okay,
it does the
so
asterisks, right? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you can do that with Getch from
Getch.
the standard library terminal module. It takes one character as input, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't print it.
Reads the character
But I
from the
don't
blocking. Character is not
know.
printed to. Yeah, that's right. But
Oh,
it's
cool.
single character. Hold on. Let's see
Yeah,
if there's
so
like-
you could just do like a little loop and wait for
the new line.
a new line
Yeah.
and call it a day.
So would that be useful for like press Y or N to continue or stop, and you just hit Y and it
Yes,
Instead of-
I
yeah.
use it for exactly that purpose.
makes sense? Okay.
Because the alternative would be read the entirety of the standard input and wait for a
Mhm.
character. Like, why do that when Getch blocks, and then I can just it's so
Yep.
easy. Thanks,
Uh,
Nim.
I want to see.
I maybe the standard library also has like a fancier way of doing it that actually where you can just call get pass or whatever, but I don't know because I've never needed to do that for anything.
All right. I just want to see if. Okay, so we want. I think it's get env, right? Yep, we want get env to get an
Yes.
environment variable. Okay, so that's going to be our first thing. Is go offensive notion because reasons. So the first thing we'll do is
Oh boy, he's getting feisty. I will be right back. No, see, when I can still see you. You don't go away when you hide under the table.
I guess I need like a technical difficulties with Cosmo, like chewing wires or something.
Always, he stays chewing those wires.
Okay.
He hides under the table and thinks that I can't see him, but I know where he is.
So I'm pretty sure getEnv will not throw an exception. It'll actually just return an empty string by default.
Oh, you saw me do that try there, huh?
Yeah, so what I would do is I would just assign it right out of the gate, and then just if Notion API key is empty, do whatever.
Yeah, that I can do. Let Notion API key.
Well, you want to reassign it to keep it as var.
That's okay. Minor gripe. Like, that's so counter the structure of every other language with the way this works. Like, I don't know that var is mutable and let is not.
Really?
Like, you gave me.
I guess I wouldn't know.
There's a const. The truth is that I would expect the two to be differently scoped, right?
Really?
Yeah, so like in JavaScript, you have var and let, but the difference is that var does what's called bubbling. So even if you declare it within a function scope, it will bubble up to the global scope if you use var. If you use let, it does not. And then const is theoretically constant, but not really, because JavaScript doesn't do deep object inspection. So
yeah, I guess I wouldn't know that because I've only ever written Python and Nim. But for the record, since we're talking about this, if you do want to accomplish that in Nim, you can use the global pragma on a variable, and it'll make it global no matter what scope it's in.
Cool.
But yeah, that's interesting. I wouldn't have figured that. It's always seemed pretty obvious to me, like, oh yeah, var variable let is immutable, const is const, you know. But the more you know.
The more you know, the more you nim.
Exactly.
That's awful. Do not congratulate me for that one.
I'm gonna make a pull request for the Nim website to add that as like the slogan.
Oh no, so, it's from terminal, right? Yeah, import
yes.
std terminal.
Terminal, yep.
The terminal's
std gonna have getch. Yep. Yeah, that's always. It'll never get old having to explain to people. Oh no, std is short for standard, not for a word that I don't know if I'm allowed to say on Twitch.
a problem that Rust has as well. Because that's the abbreviation for the standard library for them as well.
Hey, on that note,
and their icon is a crab.
And their icon is a crab.
That's true.
I was about to point that out.
There's a team working on a new audio plugin format called Clap.
That's already a thing in Rust. Clap is the command line library that everybody uses.
Ah.
Yep, sounds about right.
Getcha. Okay.
All right. So.
Oh, I've never read it as get char, but I guess that makes sense. I've always just gone, oh yeah, getch. Sure.
Sure.
Oh no, yours is
like,
definitely the saner way.
Getch.
Mine's the broken. Yeah. I've written too much character-based programming.
If you're compiling Nim from source, there's a script called Coach, spelled Koch, and I don't know what it's supposed to mean.
Koch, as in cook in German, I think is so like
maybe I'm pretty
is how is to cook something in German.
Well, Andreas Rumpf is German, right? I think
that would make a lot of sense if it was Koch.
Yeah, that would check out. Well, there you go. Now I know. I've always wondered that.
Do I have a
also duct tape? Ferris will act nice to your face. He will murder you in your sleep if you cross him. So just watch out. That's what I'm saying.
It's not car as charmander. It's car as in character. No, So duct tape, I agree with you. But what do you want me to do in this case? I can't do get. That's Klingon. I can't do that.
I've never really thought about it before, but yeah. It's,
What are you?
It's
what are you
so
looking for?
that's just a weird thing about how English works. It's just everyone wants to pronounce it
Oh,
char, even though it should be care.
It's not the only one.
Tiger, what are you looking for?
Don't I have a non-line breaking print? I know I do. I just forget what it is.
Oh, you just do stdout.write.
Boo. All right.
You could always, make a template for it if you prefer some nice
Stop it.
syntax.
Stop
sugar.
it. Stop it. STD out. Dot right. Is it all caps? See, this is why I opened
No,
up
it's just lowercase. It's just std out all lowercase dot write, and then whatever the string. And you shouldn't need to import anything for it. It should just be part of ye old system.
Oh, there it
module.
is. Just took a second.
Thanks, NimSuggest. We love you. I, for one, cannot wait until incremental compilation, because I feel like that is going to be the tipping point where Nim tooling starts to actually be, competent. I know it's not magic. It's not what incremental compilation is, but I feel like that's what everybody is waiting for.
Something like Getch. Getch.
No. Oh, because I defined it as a string. And getch, that's right. God, this is annoying. I don't want to do it this way.
Hold on. Okay, hold on.
I don't want to have to
hold
loop through
on.
characters to read. No, because if I can't hide it anyway, what's the... oh, it doesn't print it to the terminal. Hang on a
Yeah,
second.
that's... Maybe there's a better
There's
way of
gotta
doing it,
be.
but I
Hold on.
wouldn't know. The first thing that came to my mind was, oh, you can probably just do the sketch.
Nim input
But
no.
maybe there is a way
echo.
of doing it.
Oh.
I've just never had a need for it, because usually
You just found the same
when-
thing I found. Yeah.
Oh, you gotta love it when they have to import C headers.
Import
Yay.
the C
I'll tell you what,
header.
I'm just gonna make you like a get pass function. Over.
Oh yes. Do your thing.
Great, thank you. All right. Do I have a sys.exit?
But remember that the agent eventually is going to be on the target environment. You're not going to be inputting terminal commands into the target environment, right?
True.
So-
just dropping it to say, "Go birds, go birds." Hey, Helen.
John, hi Helen. You're not going to be inputting your API. Like
I
it'll
know.
be baked
I'm
into
sweating about
yeah.
that for no reason. I know that that's true.
So that's why I was thinking config file parsing, because when it compiles, it'll be known at compile time, and then you'll push it to the target environment, and then it'll run by itself. So that's why I'm thinking have a config file out on the file system, and then you can put your API key in there, and it provided it's in the get ignore, it'll never get pushed to the GitHub, although that never works out. Somebody
Quick
eventually
question:
pushes
have
it.
you already imported string utils?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then I'm just gonna use that.
Why don't we have a fallback? So you're saying get env, because that's never going to happen either. Okay, in real life, how is the API going to get loaded? Is it going to get hard coded or not?
At compile time, hard coded. And then maybe we could talk about if we want to load it dynamically when the thing is detonated in the environment. It would just require what you did for the Cobalt Strike loader. We would need to make a request for it.
Well, I can just do that now.
But that will not be.
Why can't I just host it locally with a Python HTTP server?
Or using Notion, using the trick that I discovered on Monday.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Actually, somebody else, you're totally right. Or obfuscated. I'm just going to base 64 in... no, that's stupid, because you can just base... Somebody here will base 64 decode it.
I'm thinking like constant slurped at compile time.
Okay.
Or
so what we'll do is call it
oh snap.
Security Weekly. Thank you so much for the raid. We're doing some cool stuff in here. We are writing a C2 framework using Notion. Just making an environment variable for now. Duct tape, that's what I was doing, but the whole thing is that that's not really what we're going to end up doing, and since we're writing it in Nim now. And also, Uberbit, thank you so much for the follow a little bit earlier. What I want to do is do this the way we're going to do it. So we're going to do this as const API URL, or API key URL, and we're just going to do, we're going to host it like localhost.
Okay.
And api.txt, and I'm just gonna save that to a file and host it. Okay.
Yep. Good plan.
That's it. So let me just move this over off screen for a second, and then we'll sort that out.
Now I'm thinking like a Python HTTP server never goes like error. This is the text of the file that you just tried to pull.
Well, no, friend, that's why I'm going to put it in a different location.
Put
it
offline. Yeah. Verbose error message that was like, was this the thing you were trying to access? Here's the string inside the file. Stop it, Python. Stop it.
And on quad 8. Okay. Let me just make sure that works. Localhost quad 8 / API.txt. Yep, works great. All right.
Yeah, I was just gonna do this on the Nim playground, but I don't think it really cooperates with terminal input, so I'm just gonna grab my MacBook real quick.
Okay. Well, you can't do replit? You lost Husky?
Oh no.
No, you didn't.
Can you still hear me? Maybe my video's frozen. Am I making a funny face?
I think it's fine. I think duct tape's just crazy.
Or is he saying like we lost Husky to the like writhing halls of madness? Because we did, in fact, lose Husky.
Okay, so we've got the API key URL.
We can yeet the Notion API key, and that will change the configuration tuple from 0123 to 012.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be 012 now. So, or wait, inclusive? I forget. I figured it out earlier this morning. It's in the code. We can just toy with it.
Yeah.
Yep. There we go.
Okay. Format URL based pages. Okay, and then in main, first thing we're gonna do is load. Yeah, I'm gonna just write this as a proc for now. Because.
Okay, cool. Now I can write it for realsies.
Okay.
Async, baby.
Riley, do progmas come before or after the return notation?
After.
After. Thank you.
So it's going to be like, proc, whatever, open close parentheses, colon,
arrow,
return type, pragma equals body.
Oh, colon, right. I was writing a Rust function for a second there.
Yeah, wait,
I was like,
what is that?
Wait a minute.
I was like, what is this arrow? Like, is that a pragma thing? Like, that's new.
Yeah, some source code filters on? What's going on, man?
Oh man, when Tyrant was doing his Rust stream, the hints in the IDE were driving me crazy because they kept popping up things that I kept writing into the actual code. I was losing my mind.
So
why is it not compiling? I'm sorry. Anyway.
No. God, it's what happened is like I wrote all that Rust and all the Nim that was in my head just totally got dumped. I just
Well,
wanna make
what
sure-
Donut said about like if C and Python and Nim and C# are all like German, Italian, English, and Spanish, that Rust is like Chinese. That is like the most true thing that I think I've ever seen.
Man,
Yeah, when I look at Rust, I'm like, oh man, I gotta like reorganize how I think about code when I look at this code.
that's so funny because I feel like Rust is German.
Yeah.
It's because it's incredibly verbose, but also
Verbose.
super clear. Like you can
Yeah,
say things
sure.
in the language that you can't say in other languages.
Yep, you absolutely. That's so true. As a person who my mom is actually from Germany, so, but I do not speak it that much anymore. But yeah, that's very true. It's a very true statement.
Rust to me has more. Duct Tape says Rust has to me has more in common with C than Python has in common with C. I can see that perspective.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so I was just making sure. Yeah, that I had this right. Open this like 5 different times.
And I'm just gonna have it put a little asterisk on the standard out whenever you type a character, just because
That is lovely, Riley. Thank you.
you shouldn't be thanking me. It's gonna be like 5 lines.
An asynchronous procedure is marked using the async pragma. When marking a procedure with the async pragma, it must have a future return type or no return type at all. That's fine. So what we'll do here is it actually returns a future
The future.
string. And so we'll say let client equals new async HTTP client. And we can select a user agent here if we wanted to.
Oh, passed in as arguments for tradecraft purposes.
You
says
would-
I.
Yeah, I mean, you would kind of have to, right?
The one that Nim normally comes up with, I mean, is just it'll give you away as a Nim binary.
Exactly,
That's about
exactly.
the most that you'll get. But yeah, I mean, in other projects, I've done a selection list of whatever user agent that you want to pass in, given the top 5 user agents that are currently in use, and Internet Explorer from like 2002, because why not?
Yeah, URL. And actually, results equals await client.get URL, and that's the deal, right?
While I'm not familiar with async strings or async procedures, that looks pretty close to what I would do for a normal
Got async
Right,
response.
yeah.
HTTP client.
No, I
So
need.
async response is just an object containing, the return body, the code, all that junk.
Mhm.
But your return type is a string, so you either want to just return the string that you want by just
The body?
doing that field, the body, or you can just return the whole object and do something else with it.
Got future HTTP but expected.
Yes. Okay. So await waits for the future to complete and
Right.
then returns the contents of the future. So by awaiting, you're not returning a future.
Oh, there's no
string.
body- there's no
You're
body.
just returning a string.
Mhm.
So if get API key is supposed to be synchronous, then just
Oh.
have it return a string, and then do await client.get whatever. But if it's supposed to return a future, then don't await it.
Right. Not there anyway. But this is still got future.
Maybe I'm remembering wrong.
Yeah, I don't think that's right. got future HTTP client async response, but expected.
Async response.
Let's hang on a second. Let's look it up.
Oh wait. Oh, of course. Okay, no, I know exactly why. It's because it's returning a future async response, which doesn't have a body field. So you have to await it and then access the body field.
Okay. So what we're gonna do?
I think.
Well,
Maybe.
I'm not gonna. So I'm going to check the documentation.
Yes. Don't. What's the word I'm looking for? Crucify. That's the word I'm looking for. Don't crucify me if I'm wrong, because I don't really know what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's not how we do it. So connects to the hostname. So then performs a GET request and an async response. Right.
Yes. So I was exactly right. GET for an async HTTP client returns a future async response. The future object does not have a body field. The async response does. So before you can access the body field, you have to await the result of GET.
Right. Like so. Nope.
You just don't have a
var result, let result.
Yeah.
But right. That's what I want. I want result.
Yeah.
That's
Or
what
just result equals. Yeah, that'll be your implicit.
But no, it's still given.
Come on, buddy.
Proc response.
Okay, what am I not getting? Man.
Oh no, body's a method.
Oh. Well, no, it nym is. Okay, how do I explain this? When using method syntax, parentheses are optional. So you can call any proc without the parentheses, so it looks like a field.
So it's still a type
so long
mismatch, where it says got future
yeah,
system string, but expected string.
I'm just being oblivious and I'm missing something obvious.
Well, that's what we're... No, this is kind of how we're... Oh, it's yield, right?
No, yield is for iterators.
No, okay.
Okay, am I
If an
dense?
awaited
I don't-
future completes with an error, it will then await... Oh,
Okay,
no.
hold on. Can I take a look at what you did real quick?
Just a second.
Yeah, take
I want to read this. Await a future completes with an error, then await will re-raise this error to avoid this. You use the yield keyword instead of await.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's just an exception thing. But
Okay.
But generally speaking, I don't think I've ever seen anybody use yield in an async thing. So I guess it's just yet another feature that exists but nobody uses. Did you know that Nym has concepts? I didn't until a little while ago.
I don't know what the hell a concept is outside of...
I don't know what that
Are
is.
you familiar with interfaces from Go?
I'm familiar with interfaces from C# and traits from Rust and type classes
Those
from
are
Haskell.
probably the same thing.
Okay.
So that's what a concept is, more or less. And apparently Nym has those.
And of
it's
course
just
they couldn't have
not
called it the
documented.
same thing as...
Yeah, it's like it's in a secret experimental manual that I don't think is linked anywhere. As far as I've seen,
That's,
you just kind of have to know it exists.
That's not cool. That's not a good thing
Love
for a
it.
language to have.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, to be fair, it is experimental features. Like, most of them, you have to pass in some sort of compiler flag to make them work or something. So, like,
undocumented
I get it,
nym.
but the fact that I have to do that, I have to know it exists to know it exists, like, that's not helpful.
Riley, if the hacking community gets their hands on a piece of technology with undocumented features, we are going to find it. It will take a little bit, but we are going to find it.
I just
and if
needed
you
to-
need any
I've
proof
put
of
it
that,
in the Twitch chat.
So guys, I actually think I got it. I needed two
Hey,
awaits.
nice.
So I needed to await
okay,
both
sure.
client
Okay,
get and
that's-
r.body. Because r.body was an
weird.
async response as well.
That seems strange to me, but whatever, it works. It's not how I could
No,
tell it worked based on
makes-
literally everything else.
Yeah, but it makes perfect sense because the body processing will take arbitrary time. So if you're going to do async, you got to do async. You know what I mean?
That's right. Body is a
This is
right. Okay, no.
in
okay.
JavaScript,
That
this
is
is why
weird,
we
though,
have the then
because-
pipes or the then
because
chains.
the async response object does have a body field, but I'm only just now noticing that it's not exposed. That is what the body proc is for. All I
Interesting.
needed to figure that out was to notice one asterisk, and I didn't.
Okay, so that's actually important to know. So asterisk indicates that it's public.
Yes, that's how you export everything. Is you put an
Okay.
asterisk on it.
Gotcha.
Annoyingly,
You're killing me,
sometimes-
Smalls.
yeah, annoyingly, sometimes the place where you put the asterisk cannot be entirely intuitive. Like, I often forget whether or not the asterisk goes before or after the type when I'm making a generic.
So it's private unless you make it public.
Yes, everything is private by default.
That's
The asterisk
not.
is just the make this public.
Yes,
However,
Okay,
it is
I gotcha.
worth noting that there are, I think, 2 different ways of importing everything, regardless of whether or not it's exported. The easy way, or actually, I think, okay, I know the first way. As a matter of fact, you can just use the include keyword instead of import. It works just like it does in C and C++. It basically just copy pastes whatever nim file in, which means you get everything. The other method, I'm pretty sure you can use the all pragma on your import statement. I'm gonna double check that real quick.
Boy, I don't know.
Or what?
This
what are
is
you referring to?
this is a hard. I don't know why, but I'm having a hard time coming back from Rust and going into Nim. So okay,
You just got off the plane in Munich, man. Like, don't sweat.
I'm having code lag. All right. So we're gonna do nimble run. Come back to the dark side. It said hello world. Did we make it say hello world?
What?
No, we didn't. What is happening?
My main function was to run all the.
Oh, because that's why. Because it's running agent.nim.
It ran
Or it ran
OffensiveNim.nim, which is
or offensive
the
notion
package
.nim.
for.
Okay, so we're gonna.
Yeah, let's just swap it right over. That's no big deal.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Maticus Maximus. Hello.
Hey, Maticus.
We do be nimmin tonight.
Duct tape, come back to the dark side, buddy. I'll be there.
The dark side of the duct tape?
The second I can write more Rust, I will be doing it. What's it yelling at me about here? Return. No tuple.
Oh, yeah, your tuple's off now. So,
Okay.
because I have 3 in there.
Yet again, I couldn't find the all pragma in any
No,
obvious
isn't it like
documentation.
this? It's a string, or it's a string. That should, yeah,
Sure.
that solves the
The
problem.
tuple worked this morning. That was fine. But yeah, string works too.
Works on my machine. Right, so
Okay.
I couldn't find it documented in any obvious place, but you can also just use the all pragma on an import statement, and it's exactly the same thing as include, as far as I can tell.
Oh, okay. So hold on a second.
So the world's
sorry,
your oyster.
sorry, Riley. I'm not totally parsing what you were saying because I was in some.
Yeah, no,
other
you're fine.
place.
It's not really important. It's just kind of an anecdote. Where
Okay.
I got totally distracted. I'm gonna get back to writing this tiny
So,
little function.
Your
Should not be taking
that
so long.
that format string was pulling from the config tuple, which is now just 2 strings,
So,
right?
so it's like one.
So I think that configs is the return value from that proc up there, get config something.
Yeah.
It's up at the top. So now you only have 2. And so in the main function, we got to make sure that configs is the assigned value of that. That looks okay. Now it may just be matter of figuring out how to slice into those two strings instead of the tuple.
Slicing into those two strings instead of the tuple.
So the tuple was configs, and it was 0, 1, 2. Now we just have a type of an array of two strings, right?
Oh. Yeah, that doesn't matter. The problem is that we needed the API key, right? We needed the Notion API key.
And now we have that value. Yeah, okay, good point. We have that value now, so we don't need to.
Actually, not
slice
the
into
thing
it.
that it's yelling at me about. Got string error type, but expected string. For format. Oh, hold on a second. Ooh, hang on a second.
Wait a minute.
Can
You
I just
passed?
say, for the record, by the way, since we're all complaining a little bit about NIM, we're all on the same page, even though I've been a diehard NIM user for 3 years. I hate string format error messages because the way
because there's no quote
errors propagate, the way they propagate results in the exception appearing on the line in which the string format macro is implemented. So like when you click on the exception in VS Code and it takes you where it is, it takes you to the string format module, which is not helpful. But what can you do except complain? Andreas.
So this one's interesting where it says, as coming type mistake, got string error type, but expected string. Because there's an error in the format here.
By chance, would you happen to know what the 0D hex character is?
We can find out.
Because interestingly,
0D.
That's why I have IPython
yes,
up.
Interestingly, the way I was gonna do this is I was just gonna go, oh yeah, exit
Yeah,
the wall.
It's a carriage return. Yeah.
Okay, that's
it
what
is
was
the-
throwing me off because
Yes.
what I was doing is I was just saying exit this loop when the last character is a new line.
Are you
Right,
on a
it's-
Windows computer by any
Pressing,
chance?
I'm on a MacBook,
Oh, wild.
which is super strange.
That shouldn't
But
be
yeah,
happening.
pressing the return key is a carriage return for some reason. So I guess I'll make it do both. I guess I'll handle a carriage return and a regular old.
That's just F now instead of FMT.
Oh, I didn't finish
Sure.
typing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, also, you're looking at the Python side.
That
Oh,
threw
God,
me
I'm
off
an idiot.
so
Sorry.
hard.
From my
I
head.
kept pressing enter and it wasn't doing the thing
Okay.
that it obviously should have been doing.
But what's going on here, by the way, is if I use the format shortcut, right, it yells at me. If it's a plain string, doesn't care. So I'm going to say,
Makes sense.
well, does it? I don't know why, but what we're going to do is...
But like the bearer like JSON or the bearer header right now is bearer and then like the string literal of Notion API key. So we need to, yeah, that would be a way to do it.
It's still yelling at me. Oh, why? Because the type returned by the string format is a string error type.
Okay, wait, hold on. So that's because, yeah. So this has to do. I'm gonna try and explain this in as simple terms as possible. The way that linting works is it basically compiles the whole thing, but it uses a special little flag to say, hey, if there's an error, just keep going. And what that means is that errors that happen earlier on can cause other irrelevant, like non-existent errors to happen later. So basically what's happening here is there's still an issue on that let off header equals line. That's where the issue actually is. But because there's an issue, it gets evaluated to an error type.
Is
and then
it?
later on, it's like, wait a minute.
Explain to me what the
Hold on,
error
hold on.
is on 87.
Okay.
There's an error
well,
on
I don't
81.
know. Can you hover over it for me and I can try and take a look? probably going to be confusing. Oh,
Yes,
would you look at that? The problem
we were
is
one
from even
up
earlier. It's from
higher.
get API key. Thanks, Nim Suggest.
Template
Yeah.
generic. Hold on
So
a
the
second.
problem's on line 81, but it ignores it, but it causes
That's a
another
question.
fake error on line 87, which in turn causes another fake error on line 91.
Template generic instantiation of await from here. How is that true?
Because
Oh, wait a
this is not an
minute.
async function.
Yep, that's right.
Wrong place.
Thank you.
You also shouldn't need to specify a return type if it's just void. It's void by default.
Son.
Just like that. See, you fix the one issue, you fix the error on line 81, and all the other ones go
Yeah.
away because it's just crappy propagation.
Nim almost got me to remove my PG rating here.
It's really something.
Oh, fiddlesticks.
See,
Don't you
the
use
position
that F
I'm
word.
in, so
Fiddlesticks.
to fix that, just put wait for.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much in the position of where I love Nim as a language, but I hate the tooling. I hate it. It's so miserable.
We'll get there. That can be improved.
Okay. So basically what I was trying to do, now that we've fixed all those errors, is confirm that the API is getting read.
Yep. Yep. Looks pretty good.
Okay. Let me just check over here to make sure. Oh, wait. Yeah.
Okay, I finally stopped letting
Yes.
myself get distracted. I have a little itty bitty 7-line get pass function. Probably not the smartest way of doing it, but it's just 7 lines. And
Right.
who cares?
Well, that'll work. And now, so a couple of things. I think that even though that was a little bit of molding, we actually got a lot of good stuff happening. First of all, we have figured out async in Nim, and that's going to pay dividends in terms of
Yes.
just speed and ease of use. That's one. And two, now that we have this, we pretty much just have to re-implement some of this logic into Nim from Python.
Yeah, and that should be very trivial. I have DM'd you my little itty bitty get pass function.
Ah, nifty.
It
Thank
does
you.
require the terminal and string utils modules, which I think you already have. So you should
I
be fine.
do, and I'm going to save it as a gist as well.
It is worth noting, I just want to make sure it's clear on how this works. Basically, it'll write a prompt, which just defaults to secret : you can type in whatever, it'll write asterisks, and then when you press either a new line or a carriage return, apparently, it'll exit the loop, it'll jump to the next line, and then return the result, but stripped of white space.
Okay. That is nifty.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
If someone knows if there's an actual good, the correct way implementation of this, and not just like a thing that looks like the way of doing it, please let me know. I
Well,
would like to know.
It seems like the answer people were using was
Etch or import a header file.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't
Import
think that
C.
counts.
No, I don't think so. Although
Does not
nifty that
count.
you can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, but you
All
know.
right. Okay, so we've got async for picking up our API key.
Uh-huh. And now we're gonna do create page. Oh, we already have create
Yes.
page. So,
I have put that in, not quite to the point that the request was made and sent, because I didn't have that info from you.
You can scrap that void return type.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So hostname equals get hostname, and then format URL pages.
That was like basically one for one from your Python code.
Okay.
Formatted this for the JSON body per the example using that nice little syntactic sugar. I didn't test the request, so I don't know if it is formatted exactly correctly, but it should be like very close, if
Okay.
not completely correct.
And then we have to
and I echoed it out.
JSON
Yeah, and
request.
now we need to do the request itself. And
Okay.
because we were doing this asynchronously, I didn't even know where to begin with that. So I was like, all right, I'll leave that to...
Okay. So I just want to make sure I'm checking my HTTP client documentation, which of course I'm not on anymore.
While you're doing that, silly little nitpick question that I just realized. You probably won't care, but I kind of care. When you press return to exit the get pass function, it writes one little extra asterisk on the end.
You monster.
Yeah, I know, I'm the worst. It's one of those things where like it's not immediately obvious, and then you go, wait a minute, that's really gonna annoy me.
How dare you help us out
Okay, create it
on your own time.
Create a page as
and
a
then
post. So
not get something perfect the first time, Riley.
Yeah.
How dare you?
At least it has the right return value. I hope.
post content.
If it doesn't, I'd be surprised.
I don't
and a
want
little
multi-part
scared.
data. I want. You can also make post requests. Has this example sets content type to. Oh, we have to do client.headers equals new HTTP headers. Did you do that already?
That was basically what I did for the request body from the code this morning.
Okay. And body equals.
So I didn't make it to the let response equals client request. Like that was going to be the next leg of the journey.
Okay.
But yeah, you would do body equals body in that
Okay.
point, and yeah.
So say let res equals. Oh, because we need the client. Yep. So we'll say let client. Good job. Equals
Hunting rabbits.
client dot post, and we're going to the URL.
Do be posting.
And we need. Should be able to do just client post, right?
HTTP method patch.
Yeah, there's a patch. There's a patch helper as well as a post.
Excellent.
So post and.
Because I remember that was in the Python code as well.
Oh no, it's actually it's HTTP client dot post and then we give it. No. The client itself has this method.
Okay.
We give the URL, then we give it the body equals, and then we give it whatever we just did. And you already did the headers.
Yep, headers should be passed in as the array of strings.
Yep, you got it. Okay, awesome.
Yep,
awesome.
should be good.
So body
Husky's got it. Husky's got you.
headers equals headers, body equals body. Riley, does Nim have parameter recognition? Can I just do like headers comma body? No, that won't work in functions. That won't work in functions. Never mind.
You mean like named arguments?
Well, it has those, but what I'm saying is that
Pick up the variables.
Yeah, I just don't think I'm familiar with that term.
So basically in like if I were making, let me do this in JavaScript because it's the easiest way to
hold on.
explain
Here's a guess. So
don't guess. I'm going to give it to you in a second.
Okay.
So let's say let x equals 5, right? And then let y equals 7. And then if I did an object of x comma y, see how it interpolated the key value pairs there?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
However, you could do that with a macro easily. But, it seems a little overkill.
Yes.
Why do that when you can just
put
make an
two
object
words.
the normal way? It takes like what? A couple extra characters.
Yeah.
Okay. Header equals headers.
Vim users beware.
Bodies, and of course this has to be in await.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll say can't believe I forget how to do this. I did this so many times with Nimbuster. Where
You're trying to get the stats code, or
yeah, it's just status, right?
yeah,
And that is public,
I'm
so I should be able to get that.
yep.
HTTP 200, right?
Mhm.
Oh. Then we'll let page equal await res dot body and return page for the moment. Oh wait, what are we returning here? Create page. Oh wait, create page isn't returning anything, right? But we kind of
we could, yeah. We could if we wanted to.
No, we need it to return something.
Yeah.
We need to return the ID of the page
The
that I'm
ID to
creating.
use as the command yeah, okay. So parse the response body.
Yes,
Yep.
which
I assume is probably just JSON, right?
it is.
Yes.
And Husky, you
Yeah.
looked up how to do the JSON parsing.
So I'm gonna here's a neat trick. So you can either use the standard library JSON parser,
Mhm.
which works
It's
in
yeah,
kind of the
it's-
way you would expect, just like a node tree, right?
Mhm.
It's a little slow. You probably wouldn't notice. Or if you know the exact structure of the data you're getting, you could use JSON-y, just JSONY, also by Treeform. Like I said, he makes the best libraries, which works by you make a nim object type, and then you just say, hey, JSON-y, take this JSON string and parse it into this object, and it'll just do it.
I think I'm gonna not do that at first, because I don't want to have to build that out right now for the types. I just kind of want to access the thing, even if I'm paying a little bit
Yeah.
of performance.
Yeah, I honestly don't think you'll notice. I think it's only a problem for like really chunky JSON, but honestly, I've never noticed enough to care. I usually just use JSON because I'm like, oh, I don't want to do the node trees. I just want to write the object and then just do the thing and be done because I'm lazy.
And then to access that parse JSON, just do like ID.
Check it out.
All right. Honestly shocked that I'm not getting yelled at for anything.
Yeah, there's also
Yeah, it's concerning, frankly.
yeah, no, you're good. You parse JSON and then you pass it in the key value pair, and
Yeah.
then you can access that by index.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's exactly the same as in Python, where it's just strings and brackets working your way down the node tree.
So we'll say let parent page or say page ID, right?
Yep.
Page ID equals await create page.
Or async John. Yep.
Indeed. So let page ID then let's echo page ID.
Yeah.
Just that much. Let's just try that much.
All right. Oh no. What happened? Your error is at proc main async.
I think the reason why it's at async is just because what that async pragma is it's actually secretly a macro that transforms your proc into an async proc, doing crazy shiznits that I don't understand. So the reason it appears there is because basically the macro is like, I don't know what to do with this. So it is not in the async pragma, it is somewhere in the body of the proc.
Well, create page takes headers.
And configs.
Okay, which we gave it, right? Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, the array size is different.
Yes, it is.
What is it? 0 to 1 or 0 to
0 to 2.
Because it's non-inclusive.
It is inclusive. Ranges in Nim are by default always inclusive. You
Then
can
that's
make
not
them-
correct because there's only 2 things in here.
Yeah. Okay. So that one you had 0 to 1 in one of them, and then 0 to 2 in a different thing. So you just need to make them both the same thing.
Which we did. Did we not?
No. Well, one of them was 0 to 2. One was 0 to 1. That's all I know. Something somewhere was not the right thing.
Get config options returns a tuple of 2.
Mhm.
Okay. Headers array. You're creating an array out of the tuple.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Well, no, your headers array
Yeah. If you hover over that.
Oh,
are the JSON values of the headers.
That's supposed to be 2.
That is supposed to be 2.
Okay. And yet
Well,
we're still getting yelled at.
So that's an array of size 3. Should be. What I would do personally is instead of using a range,
Timeout.
I would just use an integer because then it's obvious. Like if you put a 3, you know, oh, there's 3 items in this array.
Okay.
You can use the range syntax, but I
Time it.
feel like there's not really any point.
Timeout. If it's inclusive, that's 4 items. 0 to 3
should be. Yes.
Well, that's not right. It should be 2. Because we have 3 headers, right?
Yeah. So instead, if you know exactly how many items should be in the array, I would just scrap the range syntax and just put a single integer because then it's immediately obvious that like,
Okay.
yeah, there's 3 items.
Okay.
You know, that's fair.
All right. Now, that is not apparently the only problem that we have. So now we have wrong number of arguments to post.
Hover over the dot in client.post instead of the C, because that probably shows something a little different. Oh, it's shifted around now. Yay. String array. Right, yeah. So
Oh, we have to give it the client.
headers is the array. Yeah, I think. Oh, let me take a look at the error one more time.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, no, that shouldn't do anything. I think
Client
the issue,
URL
yeah,
string.
it's getting the client string array.
Oh, the
JSON
body's in the
error.
wrong spot.
Yes.
So headers go over here. I am gonna look it up. URL. And then nothing. Oh, because the headers
Right.
go in the client, not the... The headers go in the client, not
Yes.
the... Right?
Yes.
Headers
That
equals
sounds right
headers.
to me. You know, like I tend to say, like I've been saying this whole time, I'm not an expert. So, you know, not an InfoSec guy. I usually don't deal with headers or anything like that. I'm just like, yeah, I'll make an HTTP client and make whatever reb request, whatever, the request I need and call it a day. I've never had to
Type
deal
The
with
mismatch.
important
headers.
the important thing about the headers here, Riley, is that the access to the page is predicated
Yeah.
upon by the API token. So
Yes,
second.
that
Headers
does make perfect
equals-
sense. I've never had to deal with headers personally, so I don't know off the top of my head
Okay.
how to do it.
So-
but I guess I know now.
There is a new HTTP headers method that you use to build the headers object.
okay, that's really cool.
I don't like that I'm shadowing the...
You're shadowing the
yeah.
headers though, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's Riley nim dev extraordinaire.
New
Right.
HTTP headers, no. Hold on a second.
That's interesting. Right, so what you could here, just go to the bottom of the page, which includes all of the imports of this module, and just see where new HTTP headers actually comes from. Or sorry, exports. Okay, it's an HTTP core. So
I'm gonna lose it with this language.
Yeah, I know. I get it. The only reason I can be fairly what's the word I'm looking for? I cannot think of the word I'm looking for. I'm just gonna say fairly adept. Sure, good enough. The only reason I'm fairly adept is because I know like exactly how to triple check everything because I've been doing it for 3 years. It really never gets old.
So user agent, and so we can say headers, right? We can name
Yes. Yeah, you can do headers equals whatever you want.
which we are doing, and that's not actually erroring out for us, although something else is. So now
Right.
our
So
problem
what
is
is
what?
post? Wrong number of arguments still, which is very
This
strange.
is so type mismatch got async HTTP client, string,
Which is the URL, I
and
assume.
JSON node. Oh, we have to parse it out of we have to stringify the body.
Is body just a string by default?
That's annoying, by the way. It's a JSON. It's a JSON node. So we have to use the
Oh, wait,
JSON
so it doesn't-
library.
No, but didn't it accept a JSON node as input? Isn't it async HTTP client string, which is the URL, and then a JSON node? Or is that? Or wait, sorry, no, no, that's what you.
It's got to be the
Okay.
body.
I understand now. I was thinking of the wrong thing. Everything is fine.
So
That is to say, I think you should just be able to put the $ on body and call it a day.
the $sign. Indeed.
Yep.
And now
When in
this-
doubt, put a $ on it.
type mismatch got future system JSON node expect ordered of future void. Oh, we actually are returning something, right? We're returning a string.
Yep. So you just need to go back up and add a little return type.
String.
Like we're rolling the bubbles out of the carpet right now. You know, when you throw the
Yeah.
carpet down and there's some bubbles in it, you just smooth
Actually,
the bubbles out.
are we returning a string? We're not, right? We're returning
Yeah.
a.
No, you're turning
first of
like
all,
a what was it,
future.
a tuple, right?
Well, it's
a future tuple.
No,
I think if
We
I read
don't-
it right.
no. It's because we just want the ID out of the JSON. But the problem is that parsing JSON, if we get the ID, gives us.
Okay. Is the ID a string?
It is. I just want. Okay, so it's
then
recognizing it that.
Just
I
do
thought
dot get str. Get str on the ID, and that'll get the string out of it. Because since JSON contains arbitrary data, it's impossible for NIM to know ahead of time what the types of each field is. So you have to go, hey, I want to get a string out of this field. Trust me, I know what I'm doing.
It doesn't like my
Oh.
double equal sign for doing
Well,
status code.
Thankfully, very helpfully, this one actually has a deprecation message that tells us what to do instead.
Use raw code
Raw code, huh?
instead. But
Deprecation, hence.
it is. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. Yeah, there's a lot of like weird design choices that I don't really get, but I'm not smart enough to question them, so I just have to accept that that's the way I need to do it and move on with my life.
All right.
So it's still telling us about this template generic instantiation of async here.
And the reason why that is because there's an error on line 99.
Yeah.
Generic instantiation.
Which we're back to.
That is easily my least favorite kind of error message.
not
Because it
very
tells
helpful.
you nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay, do me a favor and just like pull up the list of exceptions in VS Code, because that'll probably help me track it down. You should just be able to control tilde and then switch tabs. Okay.
got template generic instantiation of async from here. Template generic
That
instantiation.
is, wow, that is probably the least helpful thing I've ever seen. Thanks. All right, well let me take a look at create page and see what in the world could possibly be making it not cooperate. It's not returning anything, and you should need a return type because it's void by default, so that shouldn't make a difference. Although sometimes it does when dealing with stuff like threads. If you have a thread that doesn't have a return type, you have to make it void. Yeah.
Async.
Yeah. Let me take another look at create page and see if I can spot anything obviously strange. Oh, no, hold on. I think I see. Create page does not have a default return value.
We have a return though.
Yeah,
Oh.
but it's in an if block. So if that condition isn't
right,
true,
but man, are you kidding me? Like,
yeah,
that's what it's not.
It's very frustrating.
It can't figure out that I need another return. That's problematic. But also, that did not solve my problem.
Yeah, it's like in every. It didn't.
No.
Oh, it's just a string as well. Oh, it's a feature string though, not just a string.
Yeah, but that's implied by the fact that I'm using the async pragma. I should not have to. I don't have to build a future. That's what this is all about.
I honestly don't even know what it does, so I don't even. I'll just take your word for it.
It does that. If we look at async dispatch, right? An asynchronous procedure is marked with the async pragma. When marking a procedure with the async, it must have a future return type or no return at all. But it's going to return that. GoPro, we went into Nimland because we are converting the Python that we were prototyping into Nim, and I am going to yeet this language into the sun. This is easily the least helpful.
Let me take a little peek in async features and see if I see anything helpful. Or hold on, let me.
Async dispatch await template feature untyped to define create page future system.string, and then out of nowhere, Obito Uchiha asks, "What do I think about the EJPT certificate?" Depending on where you are, I think it's a great one. I think it's a good first practical exam. If you're interested in pen testing. That being said, at the price point for it, if you study a little bit harder, I think that the Cybermentor's PMPT is probably a better value for money. Because if you take the EJPT, if it's at a deal, it's $200, right? But if you pay full price, it's $400. And Husky, what is the TCM PMPT right now?
With training, I think it's 500. Don't quote me on that, but that feels right.
So for $100 more, you get
much
like
more, 5 courses. Yeah.
You get the actual coursework, which, by the way, the $400 I just quoted for the EJPT doesn't get you the training. If you want to pay for the INE training, it's another, like, I think they knocked it down. It's in the 7s maybe, but you have to pay for that for a year. And the PMPT is a much more comprehensive exam, I would say. and a free redo. And when you
Excuse me, I was wrong. $400 with training.
then it's a no-brainer.
Even better. Even
No-brainer.
Yeah.
And also, honestly, my favorite thing about that whole process is that they have an exit interview, right?
Yeah.
That Heath, I think he's doing all of them still, which is bananas.
Yeah.
Will interview you about the exam and give you feedback about how you did. That is so important. So, is it? I don't know. I feel like the recognition between EJPT and PNPT is pretty much on a par, meaning it's not.
I would say so. Yeah.
It's not the OSCP, so 6 of one, half dozen of another.
All right, back to yeeting Nim into the
Okay.
sun.
But so that res.status equals HTTP 200 is deprecated, but that should still be allowed, right? Like it's just a warning,
It's fine.
which is very,
But it doesn't really tell me what I'm supposed to do
Peculiar.
instead.
yeah.
But that doesn't even matter because that's not an error hint. That's
No.
that won't
By the
stop
way,
the compilation
if you
of the
want,
program.
you can use a pragma to hide that warning, but it's besides the point. See, here's what I'm realizing. Whenever I write stuff in Nim, I never have this much trouble. But whatever clever stuff you're coming up with, because I don't really entirely know what we're working on, but I'm here for it. But whenever you work on something, for some reason, it's always a pain. And even for me, like I should know what I'm doing,
Okay.
and yet we're always here.
The compilers complained about the resulting value assigned to result, changing FC to the following fixes. So their FC was future string, and result equals FB, which was a future. We're doing an await.
I did check, by the way, returning a string in a function in which the return value is a future string does in fact make it a future automatically.
Yes.
I wasn't sure. I figured that'd be the case because I don't remember having any issues with that, but clearly it's of no help to us.
So watch what happens if I get the await out of here. I'll get a whole new set of problems. So it has to be an await there. Because it's r.body. So overgrown carrot, I wasn't aware that the starter pass was still available. If it is, that's fine. But I don't know if it always is. So let me look up body here. 'Cause plainly that's part of my problem. So body returns a future string. Yeah. Okay, let me try something.
Hold on.
Yep, that
So
is
if
not
that,
the problem.
that line that you are editing right now doesn't work if you get rid of the await, right?
Yeah.
See, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Why? Here,
Because-
this is why right
No,
here.
like that's obviously it's obviously working correctly, but the thing about await is that what it's supposed to do is it waits for the future to complete and then returns its contents. So it doesn't make sense to me that when you do response.body, await response.body, like it's already a future. You
No,
should be able to just return the future, unless it's
No.
turning it into a future of a string,
No,
which is
that's not what's
bad.
happening. What's happening is the body method itself returns a future.
yes.
And as from an async response, consequently, and my proc get API key or create page, sorry. Oh, wait a second.
By the way, are you typing tab twice?
No.
Okay, I was just wondering why everything is double indented because I was like, you can change that, but whatever.
Okay. Return parse JSON. I think it might be this right here. No?
Yeah, but no, because that's just a string. There's no future to unpack.
Correct.
So is parse JSON a feature?
No.
No, it's just It's just the default standard library parse JSON, which just returns JSON trees string.
So that part.
I fail to see any reason why this should not work, and yet here we are.
Well, let's try to compile it. We haven't tried to compile it. We've been trusting the linter.
Yep, which is not always a very good idea. But actually, this might be more helpful.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
It runs.
So the sleep interval means that we're into the config part. So we're into parse configs. But it does run, so...
Yeah, clearly it's just something that Nim suggests does not like. Because if that was happening for real, it would just not compile.
It would not compile, yeah.
Now, interestingly, it didn't create the page.
Which is fun.
Well...
So now we could... I mean, the first thing I would check would be just that the body of the JSON post, that the post is going through and the body is formatted correct. C2 in this case means command and control, so this is a piece of software that you use to have positive control over something in a educationally speaking target environment. They're used in the real life to hack into other networks, but we're not doing that. We're doing this for education purposes. Anyway.
It says got the API key, but then we enter the agent's sleep interval. Did I comment something out? No.
Well, we are currently in let configs equals get config options. So we're now saying, okay, enter your sleep interval and your parent page into the prompt, and then it will take that.
Right. Okay. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. That
so
should,
we're
that should
we're
be
okay.
changed.
We're okay so far. So, but yeah, I mean, we can hard code those values or do whatever we want with them.
No, sorry. The sleep interval we need, but the parent page. Although, yeah, this ordering is wrong because we're creating the page gives us the page ID. We don't have to type that in.
Okay, so yes, then I did. Okay, that's my bad because that means I didn't understand how the original POC was implementing that.
Okay, so get config options is just a string. It's just one string, which is the sleep interval for now. But we'll leave it as a tuple so that we can change it up easily later.
Okay, sure. And the sleep interval at this point has not been implemented. If you put 30 in there, nothing will happen. There is no, because the request hadn't been implemented by the time I wrote that.
Okay. Oh, wait a second. Doesn't this have to be turned into an int?
Yes, and I was struggling with that. There's a very weird parse int thing. Yeah.
Yes, not just int, because
that's
direct
JavaScript-y.
Conversions between types, especially if you're using cast, it just interprets the bytes.
Yeah.
Which
and it's not a string, right?
Sometimes.
It's an integer.
Yeah, maybe that could have been my problem earlier because I was using parseInt and it was just not cooperating for some reason.
Wow, it hates that let symbol requires.
Hello.
Hold on a second. Freaking parseInt.
Did Empire make you mad and you said screw it, I'm building my own? I actually like Empire. I think Empire's a decent C2 for the fact that it's open source and for the right environments, it's pretty effective.
And you imported parse utils. I saw it.
Yes.
Oh, it should just be in string utils though.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, I
Which we also
implemented string
imported.
utils. Yes.
Okay, well that's helpful. Yeah, do me a favor and just hover over that one little parentheses where the actual red line is. I hate that too. I hate how it never makes any sense where they put the lines.
Okay, I think the issue is this. We're going to change this up to not parseInt here.
Okay.
Right, and then we'll parseInt here.
Parse it in the return value.
Well, it doesn't like that.
Yeah, that just moves.
This is more or less what I was running into.
Yeah,
this
that's
morning.
a fake error.
But
The real
wait,
error is in the
yeah.
other parentheses.
Well, actually, I'm not certain that it is. Because do we do anything else with config options? Yes.
At this point,
we
will.
Because create page, we're saying that the configs is a tuple, which it is. But if we call it just a single int at the moment, does it do anything for us? It gets main to yell at us. That's interesting. Oh my god, these error messages are just the worst. Okay. So parse int. All right, let's just return. So we'll keep it a string here. And
Okay, yeah. There shouldn't be any reason why you can't just parse int the standard input.readline right away. Like I'm literally doing echo parse int readline standard input on one line and it just does it. Like,
okay,
it should.
Husky, is it cool if I dead code this for a second just to test the page creation?
Absolutely.
Because we don't actually need, well, we don't actually need the configs at the moment.
Yeah, no, there's the configs would have been to have, and again, that was a holdover for the class or for the procedure that will read from a config file or something like that. So there's really no reason to keep them in.
And then headers is an array of 3, which is correct. Configs tuple. So what are you yelling about? But expected one of headers configs tuple.
And yeah, the second argument is
you know
different.
what? That's okay. So the problem is that a tuple of 1 doesn't make sense to it.
Yeah, so we'll
Yeah,
eat the
it's
tuple.
just- if it's a tuple, it has to be at least 2 items. Otherwise, Nim just goes, "Oh, this is a nested statement," and it of course just evaluates to the integer in the parentheses.
Hey, I didn't even see that Joe showed up as we're screaming about Nim.
Hello, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so let's try this one more time. All I want to see is this page get created. 400 bad requests.
We're getting there.
But
We're getting
now
there.
we see
It's doing something.
echo JSON body. Oh, we forgot to do. So let's see. Type page ID format. Oh, because the configs is wrong. Oh no, because wait a second. That's right. That's right. Because the page ID is going to. Do you mind if I change up create page to use just the page ID?
Make the code work, says I. I
Okay.
will not be offended if you need to refactor.
Oh wait a minute. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. It just needs the headers, right? It doesn't need any configs because we're pulling the API key from something else. So it just needs the headers. So we're going to send create page. Yeah, because we don't use configs in
Okay,
here.
I want you to do me a favor, and I just want you to copy paste this whole thing and send it to me because I want to see if I can write this in such a way where we aren't getting weird linter errors that don't really exist, because that seems problematic to me.
Not
like
right-
something a
not
little
right
bit
now.
different going on. Fair enough.
But you know, we can certainly add you to. I mean, we can add, if Husky's good with it, as we can add you as a collaborator. So, what I want, so the page ID does have to go. The parent page ID is really what we're saying. Right?
That was that was my idea for what would go into that config.
I misunderstood. Okay, so right, so parent page. I'm sorry about that. So parent page. Let's redo that then. Sleep interval.
Because you had it hard coded. Oops, sorry. You had it hard coded in yours, so I figured we could make it a little more extensible.
Yes. So string, fine, and fine. Then we'll do get that out of here. Configs equals get config options. We'll say configs, and up here we'll say configs 1 and headers tuple, right? Okay. Well, it didn't like that.
Oh yeah, it's because you have to specify the types of the tuple. It is not a named argument. You just, there.
Right, there we go. Okay, sorry.
Wait, you can just do tuple? That's news to me. That doesn't seem very type safe.
That's how I had it earlier. Yeah.
Okay,
I guess
so
I never thought to try that because I always type everything.
Okay. And I go page ID. Okay, I think we're in good shape now.
But we're still getting that weird nonsense with create page that doesn't really exist, and that doesn't make sense because it compiles. If it's a real error, it won't compile. It's just the linter.
Well, we hope. All right. Enter the ancient sleep interval 10. Enter the ID of the parent page.
Yet. There we go. Bad request. Let's print out the JSON body.
Yeah, I was about to also
Echo,
say that.
Echo body. Maybe it's snagging the wrong format string variable.
Oops. Well, that doesn't matter. Parent.
All right.
Oh, wait. I saw this in your JSON and I totally forgot to change it. You made it an array for some reason and I don't know why.
Huh.
Oh.
Yeah, we don't need to do that.
Solves that.
Then your headers. No, your headers are still going to be okay. Okay, sure. Like I said, I never got to the request part of this, so I didn't test it.
Yeah. There we go. So parent. Is type page ID format configs 1. That looks good. Let me make sure that key was in the. Yep, page ID is good. Properties, title, text, content, Odyssey, hostname is correct. Okay, so
yes. So the only problem is that it was an array, I think.
Yeah.
Right? As far as I can tell, I don't. Like I said, I don't really know what's going on. I'm just here for the ride.
Did it again. Doesn't matter. Freaking. Okay. What now? Parent type page ID. Let's compare it to the.
Yeah, let's just.
Python.
Yep.
So, parent type page ID. That's
I'm
good.
gonna see if there's a way to pretty print the JSON. Because
Properties.
Nobody wants to look at
Title, text, content, hostname. I think it's because it's getting sent. we're sending it as application JSON, right? We're sending the body. Is there something up with the JSON body?
Oh yeah, would you look at that? Instead of when you're printing your the JSON you've made for the request, instead of you can just put body in the pretty proc, and it'll do what you think it does.
Okay.
That's much better than reading minified JSON. Man, I was just talking with a classmate today about how JSON sucks.
So title is an array. That's good. Text content looks good. Page ID looks good. Parent is good. And we're sending it to the URL base, and we're doing a post. Hold on a second. Yeah, it's gonna go. Oh wait, stop body. Cool. All right, let's try that.
Just print everything until you figure out why it's not working. That's how it
Plans.
runs.
Error parsing
Object
JSON
errors.
body. I think this has to be about how we're sending the JSON. Error parsing JSON body. So I'm gonna go.
Let me take a look at the JSON and see if I notice anything obviously funky.
It's the
Because
JSON
it may
is
just be like
the JSON
a
is-
weird.
JSON's good.
Yeah, and
Parent
then-
type, page ID, title, text, content. No, all of this is good. I believe it's how we're sending it.
Right.
HTTP client doesn't. Wait, I'm in string here too. I want to be an HTTP client. Okay. You can also. I want to see how. That's why. Dollars. Did we do that or not? Body
Well-
equals. No, we didn't. $sign body.
That's the Python.
Thank you.
And we did do that though. $sign body.
Yeah, we did.
Oh.
Yeah, because otherwise it'd be a type mismatch. We had to do that because it only accepts a string as an argument.
To type the body.
We
equals-
made a whole deal about that. I was like, but JSON node, and I was wrong because I forgot how to read.
Okay, I'll just look at every other JSON thing on here. No. Because request.post, request.post in Python kind of like obfuscates how it handles the JSON stringification, but this should just be.
Yeah, like there should be nothing obscured about how we're stringifying this because we're using the dedicated stringify operator, and
Yeah.
we can just see. We can just go.
Could debug
Yeah,
this
we
in
click the
Wireshark.
source link, and it'll just show us.
So
if we
let's
really
see.
want.
API on v1 pages, that's good. Parent type page ID format configs1, which we saw was the correct page ID.
Yep.
Property title,
So title is an array.
yes, because it can take text as well as annotations and
Okay.
multiple different kinds of objects. Yes, it is an array.
And your Python script works.
Oh, it does.
Yes, it does.
Well, that is just delightful, you know? Just a real treat.
Hold on. Why is it not giving me the termination of this? Okay, it's giving me that. Why is it not giving me the termination of these curlies?
Huh, I hadn't noticed, but now that you mention it. That
Okay.
is
But
not helpful. I wonder if like the bracket colorizer that VS Code has would work.
That's parent. It's text.
If it's failing to find the match
Title.
for whatever reason.
Properties. And body. Maybe the equals HTTP 200. So Brian, we saw that it's an HTTP 400. Our problem is not the return type. Gecko Rocketry, thank you for the follow. No, our problem is that we're not sending it what it wants.
Which doesn't make sense because Python works.
Application
And we're
JSON.
doing the exact same thing. JSON should be identical, and yet it is unable to parse the JSON.
There's a thing that I'm forgetting about how to send JSON. That like you have to do something funny with it. No, I don't want this. I want Python requests JSON. JSON object. No, I want post method. No. I want the actual request documentation. Thank you very much. JSON decoder, but I don't want that. I want request object. Make a request. API reference. Thank you. Request method data. There we go. A JSON serializable Python object to send in the body of the request. A JSON serializable Python object. So what basically, can I turn it into JSON is what it's saying. So
Right.
you give it a dictionary and it's good. You give it a list, it's good.
Which is not helpful to
Tokomaro
us.
says when you post a request, I think the JSON payload is the data keyword. That might be what it is. Yeah, I think you're right, Tokomaro. That we have to encode it in the data key. We'll give it a shot.
Not the body, the data.
Well, no.
Yeah, hold on, isn't so? There's like Notion dev docs, right?
Yeah, that's what we've been using. But the
Yeah,
problem
I should
is that
probably
it
also have those open.
uses the
'Cause I just
curl.
had
It
to-
uses curl for the example. If we look at the JavaScript, let's see. No, because it's using like, oh, it's got the Notion library. That's not helpful. Data. So I think, hold on a second. HTTP client, post, string body.
Well, now I'm actually looking at the same thing.
I think that we have to manually say data in here. I think we have to add a layer. Sorry, Gecko Rocketry, that we're distracting you from your own code. Okay. We're going to get this working, and that's going to be what we have going tonight.
What are you working on tonight, Gecko Rocketry?
Shit. Copied the wrong thing. Page ID.
Error parsing JSON body.
Do you,
We-
so the documentation they have on Notion obviously should provide a command that works, right?
It does.
Yeah.
And I have-
We've proved that.
I'm just saying that just
By the
for
way,
posterity.
Riley,
Do you
I have
a way of viewing what is actually being sent?
In
as
fact, I
opposed
do,
to
because
what
I have
command?
Postman. This is what happens when I create a page. So in fact, I don't need the data, right? Because this is the raw. This is what's getting sent. That's the response. Let me... Yeah, the body is like this. Yeah, that's raw. I'm not even looking at it in JSON. Let me look at it in...
I was thinking to debug in Wireshark to see what the post looks like when it goes across the wire.
That's, I mean, that's a little extra.
It is a little extra, but
desperate times call for desperate measures.
Okay, I think we have to be missing something very simple here.
Yeah, because this is like the kind of weird bespoke issue that I hate, where there's really no reason for it, and yet here we are. Oh, I've received a DM from GoPro Slow Yo, the one and only. If only my Discord would cooperate and actually load it.
is it having trouble parsing because the body variable is an object, not string or JSON?
I mean, I thought that's what we did though with our string.
We stringified it. We stringified it.
Yeah. All right, and by example, what you got for me? No.
Let me see if Nim by example has a different thing that might be more helpful.
Body equals body. HTTP headers. All this is looking good. And again, this is what we're getting out, right? We'll run it again without the... All right, I'm gonna bring this into just like a... do some kind of...
JSON linter kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. I'll get rid of it in a second, but it is not yelling at me at all. This looks good.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to try something else. I'm going to create a page with this body.
Right from
Postman.
From Postman from the API.
Yeah, which I already have my API key installed in.
That would troubleshoot it down to basically the method that we're using to send the data from the NIM client.
Yeah. Oh, dang it. Hang on a second. I gotta close all this stuff. Don't save, don't save, don't save, don't save. This is create a page, right? Yeah, cool. Same number of lines, even. Okay,
Page.
what?
Okay. We need to debug how NIM is forming this in the digital envelope to send the packet and take a look at that then.
Yeah.
There's got to be some problem with the implementation. So we can switch this. If I don't think, are we using TLS right now? Are we using SSL?
We are.
We can. Could we not? No, that's gonna be.
I could open Zap and proxy it, but
We could
that's
proxy it. Yeah.
but I think the issue. So I think
so
the
involved.
issue is. Let's look at this again. Go JSON body. But the body is the JSON formatted thing, right? Whatever this magic is.
Mm-hmm.
And this $sign. Let's read into the JSON library a little bit, because I think that's where we're going to discover some of our issue here.
I will probably have to jump off because it's almost 11 p.m.
So the $sign operator, which is what converts JSON nodes to strings, allocates a new string, and then it calls a little thing called toUgly, which sounds about right.
Converts node to its JSON representation on one line. So that's not quite what it does. It returns a string, but okay, this JSON representation on one line. Generic constructor for JSON data.
Trying to let Taggart focus, but Three Dogs Behind the Computer, a C2 is a command and control server. It's basically a way to run commands on a target environment if you're a hacker or a researcher like yourselves.
So the implementation for the $sign basically amounts to it loops over the JSON node and just has a case statement, and it just checks the type of a given node, JArray, JObject, and it's basically just adding characters to a string. Like, oh, is it a JArray? Add a left bracket.
Okay.
Loop over the elements. Add each thing and then a comma. It's like super.
Well, I'm gonna try
basically.
something here. Nope, that's in the Python.
An API in the other direction. Yeah, I guess you could think of it like that. Yeah, sure. You send a command from your server into the program running in the target environment, and it will act on your behalf, collect the response, send it back to you, and wait for another command. Asynchronous kind of command execution. So yeah, kind of like a reverse API.
It did have to revert to nim. You see?
Oh.
I'm minifying it.
Sure, yeah.
Wait, can I not use single quotes in
It's
nim?
it's not gonna like single quotes.
No,
No,
single
for the
quotes
love of
are
God.
only for chars.
Of course.
Yeah, double quotes are always strings. Single quotes are always chars.
Okay, can I escape all of these then?
Cute.
Yes.
R. No.
Or actually, what you could do is you could do triple quotes on each side, which will allow you to use regular old quotes on the inside. However, it does not escape other kinds of characters, in case that becomes an issue.
I don't think it will.
We're okay on that
Okay.
regard.
Well,
Okay.
then we're gonna do this. Okay. Something I keep seeing happen in the examples. Oh, let me delete the. Okay, well, that didn't work either.
All right. Break here. Regroup. Take a look tomorrow.
I think that's right. So, friends, I'm sorry that we weren't able to get this running in Nim, but work continues, and we'll keep you posted on the project.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna take a look at this, and I'm going to bash my head against the wall until it works, because I cannot, for the life of me, see any obvious reason why this isn't working.
And I'm gonna
by
write it in
all
Rust, and it'll
means-
be done tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, It's awful. Anyway.
So, friends, thank you so much for hanging out. I don't think there's a whole lot of folks, unless GoPro has anybody that he knows of that's streaming right now. Then I think we're just going to say good night for right now. And I will be back on Saturday with some pretty exciting Blue Team stuff if everything goes according to plan. So thank you, Husky. Thank you, Riley, so much for hanging out. Really appreciate it. And then until next time, friends, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and happy hacking. We'll see ya.
Good night.